Welcome back to Fox Recaps. Today, I'm going to explain the movie That's Cunning, Shijo Saidai no Sakusen, released in the year 1996. The movie begins with chemistry students of a university heading to the exam hall for their annual exam. Despite strict measures, the students use creative ways to cheat. One student has written formulas on his eraser, and one has written answers on his jacket. Some have micro-painted their nails with chemical reactions, while others have wrapped chits around their pencil. Unlike his mates from the Sigma dormitory house, Kenji Kimura, who aims to graduate and do research under the great Professor Namazuda, doesn't cheat in the exam. However, Kimura's high school friend, Yuri Morishita and Kame cheat shamelessly. During the exam, Professor Yusuke Migita spots Kame cheating through his binoculars from another building and heads to the exam hall in anger. When Migita storms into the hall, Kimura, who has feelings for Morishita, worries that Migita has caught her cheating. However, he's slightly relieved when Migita calls out Kame instead and drags him outside. Migita takes him to his office and takes a mugshot of him to humiliate him further. Migita scolds the research assistant responsible for looking over the examinees for allowing students to cheat and expels Kame with no chance of return. Meanwhile, Morishita accidentally causes an explosion in the laboratory by dropping sodium into water for the 100th time. She has to escape through the window, and outside, she meets Kimura. Kimura walks her back to her dorm, and on their way there, he tells her about his dream to conduct research under Professor Namazuda. He calls the professor great and expresses his belief that one day the Namazuda would unlock all the mysteries of the world. Morishita wonders out loud if astronomy is a difficult subject, and Kimura clarifies that it's a very broad subject, so even a chemistry student can easily understand. Morishita replies that she's not even sure if she'll be able to graduate. The two then talk about Kimura's dorm. He says that he loves living in it because it's convenient, cheap, nearby, and has free meals. Afterwards, Kimura takes his friend Kame to Professor Migita to ask for forgiveness with a basket full of fruits. But Migita calls them lowly college students that don't have any right to make such requests. However, Kimura continues to defend his friend, saying expelling him for cheating is very harsh. Migita then lectures him about the severity of cheating, saying testing is the most accurate way to measure a person's abilities. With cheating, the precise human ranking system will crumble, and there would be lowly ranking assholes among the core elite of society, which he calls the end of the world. Migita then brings up all the problematic students living in the Sigma House dormitory with Kame and Kimura. Suddenly, Migita's personal secretary appears with a package addressed to him, and he dismisses the two students, but not before taking the fruit basket from them. Kame is heartbroken as it's too late to transfer to another college. Meanwhile, Migita returns to his office with the secretary and the package, and it is revealed that the two have an illicit affair. Afterwards, Migita takes the package, which is revealed to be a development model, to the university's chairman. According to the model, Migita and the chairman are conspiring to demolish all the dormitories and build a hotel to make money. The movie then cuts to Professor Namazuda conducting research in his laboratory. It seems the astronomy professor has reached a scientific breakthrough. He has derived an equation that can explain the formation of the universe. According to him, the universe is at a stationary point as it progresses, following a pectoral shape until it formulated the infinite space of the universe and took a lemniscate shape. At the Sigma House dorm, the students are doing everything but studying. It's revealed that Kame has a fortune-telling business that is quite popular among the students. However, ever since his expulsion from the university, Kame has been in low spirits and unable to focus on his business. The next day, Migita's research student notices similarities between the former's thesis and Professor Namazuda's atom-forming theory. The student brings it to Migita's attention, but he gets angry and suggests that Namazuda stole his idea. Suddenly, Migita's secretary arrives with a file and he dismisses his student. It is then revealed that the file contains Professor Namazuda's thesis that she stole from his office. Later in a class, Migita berates his students for not knowing the most common amino acid formulation. He makes personal comments about a student named Eizaki's teeth. When everyone fails to answer, Kimura correctly answers the formulation, and Mikita praises him for being slightly better than others. The next day, fortune teller Kame's bones alert him that the Sigma House dorm is about to come under some sort of evil attack. He lets his fellow dorm mates know, but the dorm's cook, Mr. Chin, and Kimura dismiss him. Meanwhile, at a university boarding meeting, Chairman and Mikita propose the demolition of the dormitories. The board members were initially hesitant as the dorms were built by the university's founder, Kagami Hikaru, but Mikita lets them know that students living in the dorm have really poor grades and the university must do what it takes to save the university from bankruptcy like other private colleges. After an intense discussion, it's decided if the students cannot pass the exams with good grades, the dormitories will be demolished. That night, Morishita sneaks into Kimura's room with her cat. She reveals that she has been kicked out of her apartment because of her cat and convinces Kimura to let her live with him for a while. For some reason, Kimura's not happy about her moving into his dorm, while Mr. Chin warmly welcomes her. The next day, Professor Namazuda comes to the Sigma House dormitory and informs them about the decision from the meeting. The students get depressed upon hearing that they must get good grades or else the dorm gets demolished. When the students' plan to hack into Mikita's computer fails, Morishita decides to spy on Mikita by dressing provocatively and pretending to be interested in doing research under him. Mikita takes the bait, and he asks her to shred some papers for him. While finishing the task, Morishita becomes suspicious when she discovers Professor Namazuda's atomic theory papers, which Mikita stole to plagiarize for his own. Suddenly, the construction company's president shows up at his office and he dismisses Morishita. However, she eavesdrops on their conversation through the door and learns about the hotel plan. Mikita's assistant catches her spying on the professor and warns him about her later when she meets her to have sex in the library. However, Mikita thinks the assistant is just jealous of Morishita and dismisses her concerns. Meanwhile, Morishita puts two and two together and realizes that the stolen papers are a plot to get rid of Namazuda. Despite being seen by Mikita's researcher, Morishita rushes to the dormitory and tells Kimura and others about Mikita's plan. The group then reports it to Professor Namazuda, and Kimura suggests turning Mikita to the authorities, but the idealist professor refuses to get involved, saying that the laws of science belong to everyone. In class, Mikita warns the students that he will never tolerate cheating in the finals. After class, Kimura, who is angry at Mikita for his plan to get rid of Namazuda, rushes to Mikita with other students about the dorm issue. Mikita tells them that there are no funds to let dumb students stay in the university. He further adds that building a profitable hotel is important to support the university. Provoked by being called dumb, Kimura offers a challenge that if they get good grades, Kame will be allowed to return. However, Mikita agrees under the condition that they get all A grades in every subject, further depressing them. After getting encouraged by Namazuda, Kimura decides and announces that all of them are going to cheat in the final exams. Instead of studying, the students spend day and night inventing creative ways to cheat. On the exam day, they make use of all those methods to ace the test and get A grades in all subjects. Mikita becomes agitated that every student of Sigma dorm got A in all subjects and realizes that they cheated. Fed up, he decides to take the matter into his own hands. He calls Morishita to help him shred some papers, and she obliges. She realizes that they are the upcoming exam question papers and tries to steal them, but Mikita forces her to shred it. Later that night, Morishita returns with her Sigma dorm friends to retrieve the shredded papers. They then spend a lot of time putting the shredded paper in one piece. Kimura and the others start memorizing the answers, and Morishita asks for the former's help. However, he ends up rudely asking her how long she's going to stay in his dorm. Hurt, Morishita confesses that she liked him, but she can't continue to like him because he's always very cold to her. Morishita storms out before Kimura is able to tell her how much he likes her and how he wanted to ask her to stay with him forever. On the day of the exam, the students are confident that they will succeed in this one too. However, they later realize that they have been tricked by Mikita. Not only has Mikita changed the paper, he has taken several extreme measures to keep the students from cheating. 40 minutes pass by and the students aren't able to write anything in their answer sheet. Fortunately, after some time, 2 of the invigilators suddenly have pain in their stomachs due to Mr. Chin mixing something in their food and are forced to rush to the bathroom. Mr. Chin then cuts the power of the exam hall, and when the last invigilator goes to the electric room to investigate, she is trapped in the electric room by Mr. Chin. Kame then uses a laser sniper rifle to help his fellow students cheat with answers being given by Professor Namazuta. Migita tries and fails to find the cause of the cheating, and the students narrowly complete the exam. After the exam, all the students and Morishita are asked to leave except the Sigma dorm boys. Migita then conducts a strip search of the boys but fails to find evidence of any wrongdoing. Kimura then uses the opportunity to remind Migita of his promise, but the latter denies making any such promise. Suddenly, the university president, who has discovered Migita's corrupt plans, enters with the chairman in custody to confront him for his involvement. Migita tries to deny it, but Migita's researcher proves his involvement by producing a tape recording of Migita's conversation with the construction company president. The research student also exposes more of Migita's acts of corruption, including his plagiarism from other professors. The president reveals to the devastated Migita of legal action against him and that the dormitories will remain, much to the joy of the students. Later, Kimura and Morishita meet in a classroom. Morishita reveals her plan to drop out and become a junior high school teacher, using the cheating method developed by Professor Namazuta, while Kimura confesses his love for Morishita. Morishita is moved by the heartfelt confession and the two embrace. Migita's researchers realize that all the students have cheated when they were checking the papers and cancel their grades. Meanwhile, a depressed Migita accidentally knocks over a chemical bottle, causing an explosion that injures him. That was all from the video. I hope you liked it. Subscribe for more content like this and hit the like button to help us out. Also, leave a comment if you want us to recap your favorite movie. Until next time, take care.